Yo, what's up YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of Intuition. You guys who watch this channel know that I'm a big fan of mathematics. So in today's video, we're going to be covering some math questions. Specifically in today's video, we're going to be covering mathematical series. All right, so I definitely want you guys to stay tuned and check the video out. All right. All right, so in today's video, we're answering two questions. So let's dive into it. Question number one. Question number one states, a bored student is asked to add up all the whole numbers from 1 to 250. What answer does she get? Okay, very straightforward problem, right? So you just have the student is bored, so the teacher gives the student an assignment to add up all the numbers from 1 to 250. Now, if you were given that assignment, what would you do? Easy way to do it would be brute force, to just add up all the numbers. 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 3 is 6, 6 plus 4 is 10, and add up all those numbers all the way until you get to 250. But that's very tedious and boring, right? I mean, you're already bored and you're going to do a boring activity. Why would you do that? Now, the key to actually making math enjoyable is to actually think about things and try to develop ways to make things simpler and more efficient. So is there a more efficient way we can solve this problem besides just adding up all these numbers by brute force? Yeah, there is. And in fact, I think this question is a classic type of math question. The trick to solving these types of questions was developed by a mathematician named Gauss. Legend is that this exact scenario happened to him. I guess he was a very smart student. He was bored in school, so the teacher said, hey, do this assignment. And he developed the trick, and he was able to solve this type of problem within seconds. So let's go ahead and look at that trick. So when it comes to adding up a series of numbers like this, the trick is to divide the series in half and generate two series instead of one. So what you can do is you can split the series in half and then pair the series up. Now, why is this a clever trick? Well, let's go ahead and look at why. So we're adding up all the numbers from 1 to 250, but we're going to cut this series in half. So we're going to add up all the numbers from 1 to 125 because half of 250 is 125. So we're going to put that on the top row, and then on the bottom row, we're going to add up all the remaining numbers. But here's the key. We're going to flip the way we add them up. We need to add up all the numbers from 126 to 250, but what we're going to do is we're going to add those numbers up backwards. So we're going to add them up from 250 to 126. Now, why do we do that? Well, look what happens when we pair the numbers up this way. When we pair the numbers up this way and we match the bottom row with the top row, when we add up all the columns, in the first column we have 1 plus 250, which equals 251. In the second column we have 2 plus 249, which equals 251. Because we pair these numbers up this way, every column adds up to 251. And how many columns do we have? We have 125 columns. So basically, this problem of adding all these numbers up turns into a simple multiplication problem. We're basically just adding 251 125 times. So that's all we got to do. So all we need to do is just multiply 251 times 125, and that's our answer. And when we do that, what answer do we get? When we do that, we get 31,375. All right? And that's our answer. So the correct answer would be answer choice B, 31,375. So we just took a problem that seems long and boring and turned it into a very simple multiplication problem. And this trick is a product of creative thinking. Okay, so let's go on to question number 2. Okay, question number 2 states, the clever student solved the previous problem within seconds and is now asked to add up all the powers of 2 from 2 to the 0 to 2 to the 25. What answer does she get? Okay, very similar problem, right? It's another series of numbers that we need to add up. Here, we're adding powers of a certain number. Specifically, we're adding powers of 2. So we're starting from 2 to the 0, and we're going all the way to 2 to the 25. This problem is a lot harder to do by brute force because we're dealing with very high powers of 2. Because take 2 to the 25, for example. Are you going to multiply 2 by itself 25 times? That's going to be an insanely high number. So you're not going to do that. And if you look at the answer choices, none of the answer choices are written out in the decimal form. It's written out in more of the exponential form. So how do we get the correct exponential form of this series? This series is known as a geometric series. For those of you, I know a lot of you who subscribe to this channel are pharmacy students, and you guys are all familiar with geometric dilutions and compounding. You basically start off with a certain amount of drug, and then you cut the concentration in half, and then you cut it in half, and cut it in half, and half, and half. So what are you doing? You're multiplying by powers of 1/2. So it's very similar in this case. instead of 1/2, you're multiplying by powers of 2. So now we need to add up all these powers of 2. So how do we do that? Well, here's a very clever trick again. The sum that we're trying to get, we'll call that S, and S is equal to 2 to the 0 plus 2 to the 1 plus 2 to the 2 plus 2 to the 3 plus all the way all the way to 2 to the 25. Now, here's what we'll do. We'll multiply S by the base that we're working with. And in this case, we're working with base 2 because we're adding up all the powers of 2. So we're working with base 2, so we're going to multiply S by 2. And when we multiply S by 2, we get 2S, and 2S is going to be equal to 2 plus 2 to the 2 plus all the way up to 2 to n plus 1, which would be n in this case would be 25. So in the top row for S, we have 1 plus 2 all the way up to 2 to the 25. In the bottom row, we have 2 all the way up to 2 to the 26. So notice that both of these series are series of powers of 2. The difference between them is that the series 2S no longer has 1 in its sequence. Instead, it starts at 2, and instead of ending at 2 to the 25, it ends at 2 to the 26. So what we could do is we can take the difference between these two series. Okay? So what we'll do is we'll take series S minus series 2S. And when we take the difference between these two series, what do we get? Well, these two series have all the same numbers with the exception of 1 and 2 to the 26. When we subtract 2S from S, we end up with 1, and we have minus 2 to the 26. And all the other powers of 2 vanish. So we have S minus 2S equals 1 minus 2 to the 26. And now all we have to do is solve for S. So on the left-hand side, we factor out S, and we have S times 1 minus 2 equals 1 minus 2 to the 26. And 1 minus 2 equals negative 1. So if we divide negative 1 from both sides, we get S equals positive 2 to the 26 minus 1. And that's what our original series of S equals. It equals 2 to the 26 minus 1. And the correct answer would be answer choice C. Easy. All right, so there you guys have it. I hope that this video allowed you guys to see some of the brilliance and the creativity that comes from series. If you like the video, go ahead and give it a like. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave it in the comment section below. If you're new to this channel, I definitely welcome you to Intuition. You're definitely on your way to becoming a better version of yourself. Continue to watch, continue to like. So with that said, I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.